50 million viewers. This is the 5 lessons of Katt Williams talking to Shannon Sharpe. So as everybody can see, the Katt Williams interview has hit 50 million views on Shannon Sharpe's platform, Club Shay Shay. Amazing. And I think that there are 5 lessons.
You've made a safe place for the truth to be told. You know what I mean?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
They are really universal in terms of communications. One is the lesson of storytelling. Another is the lesson of independent media dominating, quite frankly, broadcast media. 3 is the power of authenticity, the power of just saying what you mean off the top of your head with no worries and not giving a damn about what anybody thinks, not giving a damn about cancel culture, not being afraid to talk, and the power of speaking freely is a lesson here. The 4th lesson I would say is a great interview style by Shannon Sharpe, keeping his mouth shut, asking a question, and allowing it to be answered without interruption. You very rarely see that now on broadcast at any time or any place. Number 5, I would say, is the lesson of owning your own platform and controlling your own content. Shannon Sharpe can do whatever he wants and whatever style he likes. And it's an interesting style. It's an engaging interview style. And it worked. And it worked to the tune of 50 million people and counting. You might think this is some little celebrity interview. You might think that this is just a celebrity thing and it's puffy and it's nothing. And it's just some comedian. Nah, it's deep. There's a reason why 50 million people watch. There's always a reason why that many people show up to a ball game. One is the power of storytelling. Everybody says this when they, advise YouTube creators, et cetera, and so on, that storytelling is huge. And particularly with podcast, storytelling is huge. Well, storytelling is huge in this interview. Katt Williams is telling stories, and people love stories. People love comedians. They love to laugh. They love comedy, and they love stories. And that's a huge lesson of this video. He's telling story after story after story after story.
She came in there, it was just so beautiful. They had to knock half.
The power of authenticity, realness, and the lack of fear. Katt Williams has no fear. He talks without fear. He talks with a great deal of authenticity. There's a whole big thing here where you can see that there's almost no hesitation when he's talking. A lot of people, when they do an interview, you can see them editing in their head. You can see them sort of stopping and saying, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't say that. Katt doesn't do that at all. The only time he sort of stops and pauses is when he's trying to remember something. But the level of authenticity, the level of realness is so high, it is addicting because you feel like you're listening to somebody who really is telling you the real deal. He's certainly telling it from his vantage point. No problem with that. Everybody tells a story from their vantage point. But you get the sense that this is a person that doesn't care about what anybody thinks, doesn't care about what anybody says. I'm going to tell it from my point of view, and I'm going to tell it the way I want to tell it, and that's it. That is authentic. That is real. It's one of the reasons to agree or disagree with him politically. It's one of the reasons why Donald Trump does so well. You know that, okay, a lot of this is crazy, but it's authentic. It's who he is. He's not trying to fool anybody. That goes a long way in a world where people are always trying to fake things and appear to be something that they're not, particularly in the political realm. In entertainment, it's a little different, but in entertainment, people have things to lose. There's cancel culture. There's, oh my goodness, somebody said something and now it's this big scandal. Katt Williams doesn't care about any of that. So it's a refreshing departure from what you typically see when somebody is interviewed. Interviewing skills. Shannon Sharpe is one of the rare interviewers out there who asks a question and then keeps his mouth shut. That almost never happens in today's media. It's actually an old-fashioned way of doing interviews, which is that you ask a question, you don't interrupt, you don't say anything, you let the person talk. Now, of course, on YouTube, there's this huge advantage of being able to talk for really long periods of time. This is a over 2-hour interview. I think 2 hours and 20 minutes. And it shows you that, yes, there's a decline in broadcast media viewership for a reason. This is a really interesting interview because the interviewer knows how to stay out of the way in a world where interviewers almost never know how to stay out of the way and almost never keep quiet. We've all seen it during interviews where right at the moment that somebody's going to say something really interesting, the interviewer decides to interrupt them. Shannon Sharpe doesn't do that. On top of the fact, and Katt Williams acknowledges this in the very front part of the interview, Shannon Sharpe's a really very well prepared interviewer. He's got his note cards in front of him. He's clearly done his homework, so that makes the interview a lot more interesting. But the fact that he understands how to stay out of the way and keep quiet, particularly at key points when the interviewee is making a key point, is a huge thing. The length of the interview is key here too. You have the time to go into nuance. You have the time to talk. You have the time to go into a lot of different subject matters in a really, really detailed way, the same way you would if you were having a conversation with somebody in your living room. It's really good interviewing style. The other thing that this shows you, a big lesson here, is the lessons of owning your own platform and controlling your own content. You typically just can't do that on a broadcast platform, particularly a broadcast platform owned by somebody else, right? So obviously, if you have a YouTube channel, you can do what you want and you can do it for as long as you like. This type of really long form interview is a great example of that. It's almost nearing sort of documentary level, being 2 hours. Most movies don't last that long. But the fact that the interviewee is really interesting and really blunt and to the point is the reason that it can go on that long and maintain your attention and you want to watch more. And it's the reason that they have 50 million views. Katt Williams has been in the community as somebody who's been an entertainer, a lot of people like, very, very talented comedian for so many years, for decades. A lot of people really believe that he's one of the top comedians in the country. He doesn't get anywhere near the attention of other comedians because of a lot of the things he talks about in the video, quite frankly. The things he's not willing to do on camera, the things he's not willing to say in a script.
Just, can we take some of this step and fetch it shit out? And then I can do it.
Those are the types of things, back to the authenticity point, that really get a viewer's attention because nobody really talks about that. Nobody likes to talk about that because I think a lot of people view that as, oh, you're risking your career if you talk about these things. The fact that he's breaking through that wall and talking like this is sort of like, it's different. You know, there is no fear. It's just, hey, I'm going to tell you the fact, oh, I've smoked 20 blunts a day for 20 years. Like that type of thing is not something a lot of people would talk about. Again, it goes back to authenticity, the sort of, I don't care what you think, I don't care what you say. It's the same reason why David Chappelle does so well. He doesn't care about what you think. He says, I'm a comedian and I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. And that in the comedic world is sort of at the root of why comedians are sort of special in the celebrity world. They are saying, look, for us to do what we do in an authentic way, we've got to be able to talk about whatever we want. So he really captures that. And he captures that through the entire video from beginning to end. It is pretty amazing. Again, there's a lot of lessons here. There's other ones I can go through, but those are 5 to think about that could apply to almost anything. The sort of lessons that he imparts in the video are interesting as well, about life, about observations about other people, about truth, about what you use your comedy for, what you use your art for in life. A very interesting interview. It's obvious why it's got 50 million, and good for Shannon Sharpe for blowing up and getting on his own platform, leaving a show that was really successful, and boom, bada bing, there it is. So good luck. I will see you soon.